Alright guys, and welcome back to the channel and the concluding part of the UC Vanguard playthrough that I've been doing. Hopefully you've been watching from episode 1. This is episode 8, I do believe, the final act. A Legacy Forged is the mission we're covering. I did a little bit of reading on this before I did this one, just to get a little bit of a forward plan. And it turns out that this one probably isn't going to be very long, and it's most likely probably going to be all conversations. I don't think there's going to be any gunplay in this, which is a little disappointing. If I'd known that, I would have actually included it at the end of episode 7, but no matter, we still want to conclude this. A brief recap, because it will probably have been a little while since episode 7 came out, which was the previous mission. We learned of the Londinian attacks, and we have a new idea who might be behind it. We learned how the New Atlantis and Tau Ceti attacks might have been instigated, and they all lead back to Victus. So we are on our way to speak to him and see if we can find out any more information and see if we can't bait him into admitting it. He thinks he's really clever, so this should be quite entertaining. And that's it, we are recapped. So, in we go, and have a chat with the man. I'd like to shoot him, but I'm pretty certain that isn't the case. We're not allowed to do that. I wish we could, but I don't think that's going to be allowed. Oh yeah, and then some. Okay, options. If you're in New Game Plus, you'll get the Starborn answer, which is, I know your secrets, Francois. Tell me the truth about the attacks and I might spare you. If this is your first playthrough, you won't see that option, and you have these options. Oh, we did, and a whole lot more. Don't play dumb, we know you were behind the attacks on New Atlantis and Tau Ceti. Or, I don't know, is there anything you want to tell me about your time in Londinian? Well, if we go with that one, he's just going to get cocky and not answer. The don't play dumb one, I don't think he's going to respond to that. He'll probably just deny. So we'll play a little bit cautious. I won't pick the Starborn answer, just in case people are watching who aren't in New Game Plus. So we'll go with, oh we did, and a whole lot more.
Good news then. So, what exactly are you doing here? Plenty still to be done in defeating the Terramorphs, no?
No, we have a plan, it just doesn't include you. Right, 3 options. We found a recording of you discussing the use of Terramorphs as a weapon. I know you're involved in attacking Tau Ceti and New Atlantis. Please stop, you murdered UC citizens and you're going to pay for it. Now confess. Again, if we go for the bottom option, as fun as it would be, he'll just deny. The middle one is an outright accusation with no proof, so again I suspect he'll just deny. The best one I think is to go with the top one, because we do actually have a recording, and it'll be interesting to see what he says to that.
Did you? Well, I don't know what you think you heard on this recording, but I sincerely hope you didn't come to the wrong conclusions. After all, given the Cabinet's current state of anxiety, they might misinterpret such a discovery to mean I could have been involved with the attacks. Perhaps I can convince you to keep this among us.
Bribery. Okay. So, options are, no more lies, confess, or I turn over what I found. Sorry, I'm telling the Cabinet what we learned, consider this your chance to come clean. I've got no plans to tell anyone, I just want to know the truth, but we're definitely not picking that one. So you really don't know anything about these attacks? Question, is that what you're claiming? I'm not going with that one. No more lies, confess, or I turn over what I found. No, we'll go with the second one. Let's give him a chance to come clean. Let's see if he'll take it.
You know, you're far It's then.
Oh yeah.
I did it. The terramorph attacks on Tau Ceti, New Atlantis, my doing.
That wasn't hard.
Years of coordination between my associate and I, figuring out how to deploy the Lazarus plant's pollen outside of Londinian, learning to synthesize it, use it as a weapon. Now, being as clever as you are, I'm sure you have thoughts on why I might do such a thing.
Plenty, but probably not the ones that are worth repeating. Okay, several options. Because you're a madman and a murderer and you live to sow death. It's fairly accurate. To work on something that long seems personal. Could be. No better way to show the UC what a deadly weapon they have in the Lazarus plant than to use it. Associate, who have you been working with? Well, he did say associate, so let's see if we'll go with that one.
All in due time. First, I want to see if you're truly as astute as you appear. So why would someone like me go through all this trouble?
I'm going to guess because you're somewhat upset about being imprisoned. So we will go with personal. Although I've got a sneaking suspicion the weaponizing version might actually be better.
You couldn't be more right.
There we go, personal.
The attacks were a correction. When I discovered the plant, I did consider handing over what I'd found, but we were at war. And I couldn't risk information that dangerous falling into the wrong hands. So I ordered the bombing of the Londinian spaceport, fixing two problems at once, halting the spread of the city's terramorph outbreak, and sealing away knowledge of the plant's potential.
Unbelievable. Okay. Please, no secret is so dangerous that you can justify condemning so many lives. You just said it took years to use the plant outside Londinian. You killed them for nothing. That information should have been handed over, secured it to keep it from ever being used. Or you didn't even trust your own people in the UC. Well, clearly not, and why would you? They're not exactly the most trustworthy bunch. Let's go with the top one. He murdered an awful lot of people just to keep the secret that he could use for his own personal gain. Oh, I'd really love to shoot you.
Easy to say now, but at the time, I didn't know the Lazarus plant couldn't be plucked from the ground and used to cause even more death. I wasn't going to allow another dangerous variable to be added to an already catastrophic war. But then, as the war ended, my trial, my execution, I made a decision. After all, I'd given everything for the colonies. My life as I knew it included. And what did I get in return? Was there any effort by the UC to protect my legacy? My daughter's legacy?
Oh, don't pretend like you
No.
care.
We were sacrificed when all we did was serve. So I kept what I'd learned and arranged the attacks to set things right again. My daughter, she becomes a hero.
Oh, please.
I become a trusted advisor, having found Kaiser, the research team, and cement my new position of influence when I hand them the name of the person responsible for the attack on New Atlantis. The dear departed Dr. Reginald Orlays, the associate who aided me all these years, and whom I always slated to take the fall. What luck he was stopped dead before he could hurt anyone else. His decades on the run brought to an end by another unlikely hero.
Oh.
You.
Used. Typical. What a piece of work. Okay. So you murdered UC citizens because of some slight against your honor. You're sick. And then some. So I'm just your cleanup crew. You must think you're very clever. Well, of course he does. Orlays, why does that name sound familiar? Because we killed him. It was the guy in the ship, Warlock, if you remember that from the previous episodes. How could you have coordinated all this from here? Clearly he's got outside sources. He's been talking to people because he's been hunting people down for the UC, so he's just been manipulating people. Or we could go with, and why the hell do you care if the UC wants you as an advisor?
My undivided attention.
Oh, God, I really want to shoot him. Okay, let's go with the second one. Let's see if we can goad him into something.
Captain, please. You've benefited here as much as I have. Maybe more. It's why I had Orlays reprogram Kaiser. Had that old machine guide you to where I found the plant all those years ago. I went to great lengths to ensure your and Hadrian's success.
Knew I couldn't trust Kaiser.
And look at the results. I know for a fact the Cabinet's planning to honor both you and Hadrian once this is all done. Isn't that preferable to languishing away in obscurity? Running jobs on the tail end of nowhere for the Vanguard? With only the vague hopes of perhaps earning the right to buy a home in the well someday.
My home's bigger than that. And I make a lot more by doing more than just Vanguard work. Narrow-minded twit. Okay, 4 options. They'd be honouring me for cleaning up your messes. It's pretty accurate, and it's not something I want to do. If you're waiting for me to say thank you, you're going to be here a while. Tempting. I suppose there have been some benefits to all this. Definitely not picking that one. What kind of honours are we talking here? And we are not going for that one. Let's go with the second one. If he wants to thank you, he isn't getting one.
I'm simply looking for you to acknowledge the truth. And let's not forget the importance of our actual endgame.
Our endgame?
Eliminating the terramorphs.
Don't think so.
Securing knowledge of the Lazarus plant. What we've set in motion is going to protect thousands, maybe millions of lives. I'm simply requesting one more life be protected. Mine.
No.
I've already sent along the evidence of Orlays' role in the attacks to the Cabinet, leaving out my own involvement. All I ask is that you confirm as much to the Cabinet. Tell them that it was Orlays and Orlays alone. After all, I do still have a long list of threats to the UC. This needn't be the end of our good works together.
So he wants us to lie to end up working for him. I don't think so. So let's see what we got. I hope you enjoyed this talk, because once I tell the Cabinet, it'll probably be your last. You know, I'm not sure what I'm going to tell the Cabinet. Fine, I'll make sure everything is pinned on Orlays. You think I'm just going to forget the fact that you killed people to accomplish your good works? In quotation marks. What kind of work are we talking about here? Well, I don't want to know. I'm not going to go along with him. I'm going to string him along a little bit, and I'm going to say I'm not sure what I'm going to say, simply because I want him to think I'm going to consider it. Because I think when I stab him in the back to the Cabinet, it'll come as a real blow to his ego. Hopefully when they come to execute him.
Well, I do hope you'll keep the larger perspective in mind, Captain. We've done something great here. Let's not squander the opportunity to do more.
Okie dokie. We are done with this idiot. We now need to go and speak to Hadrian and Percival. They will probably be somewhere near the council chambers. There's no doubt we're going to have to speak to them as well. Yeah. So, let's find them. Let's go around this way, I think. There we are. Wonder what that is. Oh, it's a star chart. Huh. Unconfirmed. I wonder what that is. Future DLC planet or faction, perhaps? Anyway, back on with the mission.
Perfect timing. We just got in. So on our end, good news. The microbe and the Aceles are both as effective against heat leeches as they are against terramorphs.
Good to know.
Means either plan should work for clearing those critters off our worlds.
Considering what the Lazarus plant is capable of, I don't think we can deal with those things fast enough. I already sent along info to the cabinet to get them up to speed. So what about your end? Did you find anything?
Oh, yeah.
Did my father tell you what he knew about the Lazarus plant?
Let's go. We've got 3 options. So, Victus confessed he organised his attacks from his cell. We could lie and say it was a man named Reginald Orlays. He perpetrated the attacks. Or, actually, I'm still gathering some intel. Let me get back to you. So, if you're not done doing whatever it is you want to do, you pick the third option. We could lie, or we could tell the truth. I am not lying for Victus, so I am going to go with the first option.
I knew it. The second I heard that recording, I knew. Why? Did he say why he did it?
He said he was trying to fix the damage done to the Sanon name, make you and him into heroes. Or we could go with, it's not worth recounting, the man's a sick mind. Let's go with the first one, because she'll probably explode.
It takes some deeply twisted logic to think anything did more harm to the Sanan name than him. Well, once we inform the cabinet, they can ensure he won't be able to do anything like this ever again.
Okay, 3 options. He deserves punishment. He asked we leave out his involvement in the attacks so as to consider the lives he helped save. What do you think the cabinet will do to him? Actually, that's a good question. Let's go with the last one.
My hope would be that whatever connections he's got to the outside world disappear. Make sure his future schemes and machinations stay in his cell with him. But honestly, I'm not sure. He's in a unique position and has done a special kind of harm to the colonies.
Well, stupidly vague, thank you very much. We'll go with he deserves punishment.
Exactly. Bring justice to everyone he's hurt. So I guess that gives us our final answer. Nothing left to do but head in and see what the cabinet thinks of it all. Unless there was more to discuss. This might be our last opportunity to talk things through before the cabinet weighs in on a decision regarding the terramorphs.
Okay, so at this point where you can run through some dialogues and learn more about what the different benefits to using either the Aceles or the microbe. So if you want to learn more about that, you want some of these options. I'll read through the options anyway, but I know which one I'm going to go for. So the options are nothing else on my end, let's head in there. So if you want to just get on with it and muddle through, hit that one. Which method of dealing with the terramorphs are you two leaning towards? That'll get the opinions of Hadrian and Percival. So both approaches to clearing out our worlds are effective against heat leeches? Question.
Captain!
Shut up, woman. Both approaches... Oh, I know I'm rereading everything. What kind of risks are there if we decide to bring back the Aceles? I think we probably just asked that one. So let's go with... let's see what they're leaning towards.
Microbe is going to make the cleanup a whole lot quicker. If we're concerned about this Lazarus plant getting deployed again, that's the way to go.
The cabinet can secure the Lazarus plant, and then we're not risking any surprises when it comes to dealing with a microbe.
You're being paranoid. You know the science. You know we can make this safe.
I do know the science. I also know math, and a 1 in a million chance of a mutation isn't 0. So I guess we're still in discussion. Probably best at this point to let the cabinet weigh in, see if they have a preference.
So Hadrian's leaning towards the Aceles, and Percival is going for the microbe. Interesting. Let's go in there and let's see what the cabinet have got to say. I know which way I'm going. I will be opening it up to the comments. I'd be very interested to know everybody else's opinion and which way they
Welcome
went
back, all
or
of
are
you.
planning to go.
I wish we were meeting under better circumstances. But according to Hadrian's report, and the second one I just received, it seems the Terramorph attack on New Atlantis was no random occurrence, but a planned strike. Is what I'm reading here true?
Partially. That's correct, ma'am. It was a deliberate attack. Yes, but don't you worry. We found the culprit. And is the second report from who I think it's from? Let's go with the second one. Let's see if we can
The
get...
second report claims to know the perpetrator
There we
as
go.
well. Did Reginald Orlays actually commit these attacks, Captain?
No, he did not.
Orlays?
That report isn't the whole truth. Orlays helped, but Victus organised these attacks. That's the first option. We could lie and say yes, it was Orlays. If you do that, you're siding with Victus and you'll progress down that route. Hadrian, I think you should tell them. Or, I'm sorry, I need a moment to verify something. Nope, we're going with the first one. Because it's the truth and I am not siding with Victus.
It's true, ma'am. I heard the recording myself. My father figured out how to use Terramorphs as weapons.
He did what? That's impossible. He doesn't have the kind of access to...
Clearly, he made his own access, Chief Sarkin. Madam President, I have been saying for years that not dealing with that man was going to end in tragedy.
Enough! I hope everyone here understands that what has just been shared is a state secret of the highest order. This information does not leave this room.
Oh, I bet it does.
Now, that's quite the accusation you're leveling. Considering Francois Sanon has not left containment for the better part of 2 decades. You have evidence to back this up?
Okay, you can either play the emergency recorder snippet that we gathered, or you could get a little upset and say, why would I make something like that up? We're just going to play the recording, because that will shut her up almost instantly.
It just transformed. A Terramorph out of thin air. An invisible weapon. No planet would be safe.
Heavens help us. Is that actually him?
I'd know that voice anywhere. That's Francois.
He knew they could do this. And said nothing.
He's a sociopath. Plain and simple, ma'am.
Officer, please collect that recording.
Yes, ma'am. Begging your pardon, Captain.
We'll, of course, be launching a full investigation into how this could have happened. Though I have little doubt the Admiral will be quick to share all he knows on the subject once confronted with that recording. Chief Yassine, can you send one of your interrogators to have a little chat with the Admiral?
I'll issue the order immediately.
Good. Combined with everything else you all have uncovered. Well, I don't think the United Colonies can thank you enough. We failed the people of the colonies by not dealing with Victus sooner. I intend to rectify that mistake immediately.
A bullet to the head will fix it. Okay, 4 options. Good, the world will be better without Victus in it. Yeah. Whatever the cabinet thinks is right, it is the right course of action. Ma'am, I would request his life be spared. He did help us against the Terramorphs after all. No, he orchestrated all this. We would have walked into all that all on our own. I am not picking that option. And what's going to happen to him? Top one. Because it's true.
I'm inclined to agree, Captain. Now, with our villain unmasked, we can attend to the other matters at hand. With the threads you've brought together here, the Lazarus plant, the attacks, the heat leeches, the 3 of you have likely spared thousands of lives. But it now falls to the cabinet to ensure this can never happen again.
Yeah, right.
As such, the cabinet will be securing the Lazarus plant on Londinian. All materials related to the plant will be classified to ensure no one else learns its true nature.
A sound decision, Madam President.
Okay. Multiple options here. Agreed. That's the right call, ma'am. Ma'am, I believe the other faction should be involved in securing the Lazarus plant. Yes, absolutely. Securing the plant isn't enough, it should be wiped out. What sorts of measures will the UC be taking to protect the Lazarus plant? Well, clearly they're just going to put it in the archive. I'm going to go with the other faction option because it's right. If they try and cover this up by themselves, then the UC are proving themselves to be corrupt. All parties need to be involved in this.
Tell the Freestar Collective. Wow. So they have another tool to utilize against us?
I'm in agreement. I fail to see the value here.
Typical. Okay, options. To demonstrate to the collective the UC isn't planning to secretly use this down the line. The UC doesn't exactly have the best track record. This would ensure good behaviour from both sides. Or we could simply agree with them, back down and say, no, I guess you're right. I think the top option is accurate. If the UC aren't going to be using this as a weapon down the line, or using the Lazarus plant to weaponize terramorphs as a protective measure or an offensive measure against anyone, then that is the option to go for.
That is an interesting idea. A grand gesture, showing definitively this cabinet doesn't think like those of the past.
So, you want us to make nice with the collective by sharing our state secrets?
No, I want us to display plainly the UC's actual intentions, that the plant will never be used as a weapon again.
Spot on.
That does sound worthwhile, Chief Kulkarni. Very well. We'll get the collective involved in the management. Thank you for the suggestion, Captain. So then, to our final topic. The Cabinet has agreed to implement a plan that will deal with the Terramorph, and now also Heat Leech presence on human worlds. In fact, we've already begun enacting measures to check all UC ports and settlements for undiscovered nests. But we all understand this is only a partial solution. The project we're embarking on will be a long and difficult one. So our first step must be deciding how exactly this all will be handled.
Madam President, this microbe is clearly too much of a risk. The Aseles are the safer approach.
To someone with limited knowledge of biology, perhaps? The technology behind the microbe is solved science, Madam President. It isn't dangerous.
Oh, it certainly is dangerous.
Using it to wipe out the terramorphs would be the quickest path to protecting humanity.
And fast results always lead to the best outcomes, don't they?
As you can see, there remains debate among the Cabinet. We were hoping your group might issue a recommendation. Major?
We've been having similar debates ourselves, but the captain has yet to weigh in.
I see. Captain, I know this may not be your area of expertise, but we'd like to know your take on the matter.
Okay, we can either go with deploying the Aseles is the safest route. That's my vote. Terramorphs have caused enough damage, they need to be wiped out quickly with the microbe. Do we need to do anything? Shouldn't securing the Lazarus plant be sufficient? I still have questions about the methods, or I need a moment to collect my thoughts. No, securing the Lazarus plant won't be sufficient, because if that falls into the wrong hands, anybody could create a terramorph and you've got a huge problem. Not to mention the fact there are still lots of terramorphs out there, especially on Londinian, so that doesn't solve the problem. I have my doubts about the Aseles, so I am going to go with a microbe.
Glad to see someone's not afraid of a little applied genetics. The science division is in full agreement.
And Major Sinan? Dr. Walker, you'd find this acceptable?
We trust the captain's judgment.
Then the matter is settled. We'll begin the process immediately. Today marks day one for the United Colonies Terramorph Management Division, making you three the founding members of the TMD. As befits such a group, the Cabinet wanted to display its gratitude. Today, we will be adding 3 new Class 1 citizens to our ranks.
Class 1? For the 3 of us? Are you joking?
What he means to say is, thank you, ma'am.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, 3 options. Thank you, Madam President. As long as I'm getting paid, I'm happy. And what's a Class 1 citizen? Probably we're going to get a house and probably a bit of a pay. And that'll maybe be it. If we're really lucky, we might get some sort of title. Not that we can really use titles in this game. I'm going to go with the second option. I just want to get paid.
Then I expect you'll be quite pleased. Now, there's much to be done. Major Sanan, Dr. Walker, I hope you two are willing to continue your efforts, spearheading the TMD's research on Mars.
We'd be honored, ma'am.
As for you, Captain, the Vanguard will be providing much of the on-the-ground support for the TMD. As a member of both the Vanguard and the TMD, I believe you'll have your pick of duties. Speak to your commander, Tuala, if I recall correctly. He should be able to provide you with assignments going forward, plus help you collect the benefits that come with being named Class 1. On behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our sincerest gratitude. This meeting is adjourned.
Woohoo. Okay, 27,000 credits? That it? Well, that was a little lackluster. Okay, so we need to speak to Commander Tuala.
Making the settled system safer.
Somebody wants to give me credits for being a nice guy, that's fine by me. So we... How do we get to Tuala again? Oh yeah. So we come out of here, run up the ramp, and into the mast building, which is right above us. Our booster pack comes into play, saves a little bit of time. And the commander is still behind his desk.
Well, well, I've got to say, this is a first. I've never had a Class 1 citizen in my ranks before. Congratulations, Captain.
3 options. Thank you, Commander. It's an honor. I'm just here to collect whatever it is this Class 1 thing pays. Can you tell me about what a Class 1 citizen is? Let's go with the third option. Let's find out.
It's a high honor. Have to do something big for the colonies to earn that sort of designation. Only ever met a couple myself, and certainly never given one orders. You should be real proud.
Okie dokie. Let's go with the second one. I'm just here to collect whatever it is Class 1 pays.
Luckily, I'm one step ahead of you. I've already gone ahead and processed your Class 1 benefits. All UC goods and services should now have a thanks for protecting the colonies discount.
Nice.
And the credits should be in your accounts now. But to get into your penthouse, you'll have to pay a visit to the Aphelion Realty office. They should be able to grant you access.
That's another 12,000 credits. Not bad. 4 options. That's incredibly generous. Glad to see UC giving credit where credit is due. Rather drink engine oil than live in New Atlantis, but at least the price is right. And where is the realty office? It's not too far away. It's easy to find. Let's go with the second one.
Higher-ups wanted to make sure you know how much they appreciate what you've done. But with all that squared, it's time to get you a new assignment. There are your standard Vanguard missions, putting those pilot skills to use defending UC space. Or you could help the TMD in cleaning up terramorphs. Oh, and I got a request from Dr. Walker. Wanted your help collecting biological samples to keep an eye out for any, new alien threats on the horizon. Any of those missions call to you?
Okay, so we're going to pick up a load of missions here. Well, not a load, but a few. These are going to be repeatables, as I understand it. So think of these as your sort of daily quests, if you will. I'd like to run a Vanguard mission. Only ever really done the one. That'll, I think, give us space combat missions. I'm ready to take on some terramorphs. If you want to go after more terramorphs, you can pick that one. Actually, I'd to start by helping out Percival with these new alien threats. I must be reading that wrong, that doesn't make sense, but alright. I've done my duty, Commander. I think I'm going to take some time off from aliens. So if you don't want to pick anything just yet, go for that option. It's entirely up to you which you pick. I believe you can come back and just keep choosing different ones, so there's no wrong answer here. I'm going to pick a Terramorph one just for fun.
Some bugs, right? Well, I can provide. Let me just check my logs. Okay, these coordinates should get you to your first targets. There.
Let's just see what happens when we talk to him
Get
again.
out there and clean house with that morph. Unless there was something you needed from me.
Let's run a mission.
Got a mission bringing some peace to UC skies. You interested?
There we go. So you can pick up another mission straight away. I'm going to go with I'm game, or you could go actually not right now if you don't want to pick it, or not sure what can I expect out there. You'll get a few details about your mission.
All right, let's get you the details. Just be smart out there.
So there you go. You pick up a few more
on your first hunt.
Quests for you to do. They're just repeatables. These are things that you'll just keep coming back and doing. I don't know what the Percival thing is, but it's just a side quest that does actually finish the UC Vanguard side faction. You are done. All these are just credit and experience making, and it's just designed to keep you busy. So pick them up if you want, if you think they're worth it, or if you just want the excuse to go and blow up some Terramorphs in a non-storyline scenario. This is where you come. You just come back to the Commander Toilet and you'll be able to pick up your missions from there. As far as I'm aware, there's no limit. And obviously, the activity of speaking to Percival, go and explore that, see what happens. I'm sure it'll just be another set of side quests, maybe linking into some sort of DLC down the line, who knows. I know there is talk of a DLC at some point, so maybe that'll tie in, maybe not. But other than that, we are complete. That is a Legacy Forged done, and that wraps up the UC Vanguard playthrough for me. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you've watched from 1 to 8. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd be really interested to know who picked the Aseles and who picked the Microbe, and why. It's an interesting debate about which would be the more viable. I know that your companions will all have their own individual opinions on this. Some will agree, some will disagree. So if you're not totally friendly with all your companions, then you may end up angering them a little bit. If you're really, really friendly, they may not agree with you anyway. I know Sarah has some very strong views on this subject. So, yeah, you're going to learn quite a bit there. But other than that, it's been a fun one. The last mission was a bit of a letdown. I was hoping for some sort of gunplay. Hopefully, I was really hoping to be able to pull the trigger on the Vivictus myself, but not to be. But never mind. So that wraps us up. Thanks all for watching. Thumbs up would be appreciated if you really enjoyed this. I hope you did. Please consider subscribing. This is not the only piece of work I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of weapon showcases. I've got the Crimson Fleet faction campaign coming up soon, and I'm working on other games as well, which you'll see on my channel. Farming Simulator, Euro Truck Simulator, and next one will be RoboCop Rogue City when that comes out. So lots and lots of content coming from me. I've got a nice little group of subscribers building. Thank you all very much for everybody that has subscribed so far. Hugely appreciated. It's fantastic to see. Keep it coming. Leave comments, questions, anything like that on my videos. I do try to respond where I can. Always happy to talk. If you've got a criticism or a suggestion, again, leave me a comment. I'm going to try and sort out an email address so that I can have that up on my channel. So if you want to send me requests or anything like that, we can do it through there, rather than just posting up comments that I may or may not miss. I am toying with the idea of another playthrough on Starfield, going around New Game Plus again, with a very specific set of weapons, and not just a specific set of weapons, a very narrow choice of rules to play through the entire campaign, and probably some of the side factions as well. But that's a work in progress. I'll if that materializes, it will show up on my channel eventually, so keep an eye out for that, possibly. Other than that, I will see you all in the next video. Take care and have fun.